Another day and another flare-up in the return of sports to the landscape, and this involves the National Football League, and it also goes into the minutia of the rules and the regulations that are involved in playing sports during a pandemic. It's not the same. Everyone knows it's not going to be the same. So the NFL held a two-hour conference call for player reps, and this is all regarding the plan, the big plan for 2020. So I don't know if you heard about this or not. Maybe not. Maybe you missed it. So we are told that players could end up being fined for conduct deemed detrimental to the team, but really detrimental to their health if they are found to have spread the COVID/coronavirus by engaging in, quote, reckless, unquote, behavior away from the facility. Now, what does this mean? From the reporting, it means that if the players end up going out to a nice restaurant and have a nice pasta meal, and then they ride an Uber on the way home, that is deemed as reckless, and they could be in hot water. Now, that is just the tip of the spear. Dan Graziano, the reporter who had this story, tells us there is some sentiment among the NFL union, the Players Association. There's a group of players that are asking, why are we playing? If all of this is unsafe, why are we playing? Okay. That's a question we will address. And there's even more. But wait, there's even more. Some players are unhappy with the proposal. We had talked about this in a previous episode of face shields that they would have to wear on games and in practice and just to work out, etc. And they're concerned that their vision, they won't be able to see the people they're trying to destroy and tackle as human spears. And their breathing could be affected. This is something we had discussed because the helmet looks like it's right out. It looks like the Fock robot is what it looks like. It's like the mask and the way it's set up and those hot days early in the NFL season, not normally great. I mean, it's pretty hot in September in most places when the NFL gets going. Certainly in the southern part of the United States, it's really toasty. Miami, Jacksonville, places like that, and Tampa. The non-dome teams also outside Arizona. Although they're a dome, so I guess that doesn't really matter. Anyway, so let us discuss the question, what do you make of what is certainly a plot twist in NFL circles here? That the players are complaining, they're upset. Again, they're like, what are we doing here? Why are we even playing? If it's this dangerous and this unsafe, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so my views on this, you've got Costco, bumper sticker, and the Jenga tower. And we will combine all these things together, and we are going to make a all-American barbecue. I'm talking hot dogs, burgers, on the grill, because it's 4th of July weekend, and that's it's all about the grilling. It's all about the grilling. All right, now, I guess are you still allowed to do that in your backyard, or have the politicians banned us from doing that? I'm not sure. I have to check the rules. I don't know. Yeah, there's Chris burping right there. All right, so first of all, the reaction... And we're going to take this as accurate, this reporting. The reaction, if it is true, tells you what? It tells you that the players are living, the group that's upset, they're like living in some parallel dimension. A lot of this is not great. It stinks to high heaven. I'm not going to disagree with that, but getting tested regularly and not being able to live your best life is as enjoyable as hemorrhoids, right? I mean, you really want hemorrhoids, and you don't really want to, not be able to do things you like to do. And I think a lot of this is bullcrap, but you follow the laws as you're supposed to follow them, and it's equally bad, or I guess it's more bad if you're in your 20s. Now, it appears our gridiron heroes, all right, the heroes of the gridiron, have been so isolated from the real world they haven't been paying attention. That seems to be the only reasonable answer. This comes across as the group of players that are complaining that they're so spoiled that they think, I don't know if it's a birthright or not, that they have to have a different set of rules. and again, entitled to that mumbo jumbo. And I say reality check. I have the perfect solution here. What they need to do is they go to Costco and you buy one of those giant cases of smelling salts. I mean, a huge case of smelling salts. And then you pass them out like candy on Halloween. You get a smelling salt. You get a smelling salt. You get a smelling salt there, everyone, because you need a wake-up call. Now, the NFL prides itself on what? Masculinity and showing intestinal fortitude. So this is a time in our lives where a lot of that stuff is required. Now, secondly, the reporting, and many of you were so excited, you couldn't wait to pass this story on to me. Did you see this, Ben? Oh, my God, no football. The sensationalistic reporting of, and I get it, it's palace intrigue, and we all like palace intrigue. It's red meat. It's NFL red meat. And it's red meat for the crowd that wants to shut it all down, shut everything down. It's not safe. It's never going to be safe enough. And panic at the disco, or in this case, panic at the NFL stadium. And so I understand if this is accurate, and again, we're doing this whole monologue based on the theory that it is, there is a power struggle. But is this real or imagined, right? Is this just a mild hiccup, a hissy fit? Or is this something that is going to escalate and go up like an elevator and become a bigger and bigger situation? On the line here is billions of dollars in revenue that, yeah, the owners will get, and also the players and player salary. The way I see it, the NFL is not being unreasonable. They're not, unless I miss something, and maybe you can tell me, but I know in golf, the PGA Tour, from everything that I've seen, they have set penalties that are very similar to the plan the NFL's putting in. And if a player goes rogue on the PGA Tour, then they will be fined. And I think some actually have been fined. And so the way you got to look at this, I understand both sides, but it's uncomfortable for the players. But from the owner's side of it, if you're spending all of this money and for safety, right, plausibly for player safety, then the players have to do their part or it doesn't work, right? You know that bumper sticker slogan that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link? Like, The NFL should not have to pull out baby monitors to keep track of players so they don't go anywhere. I mean, these are grown-ass men, and it's insane that, I don't know, this is rules and all this stuff. Just, listen, contain yourself. Stay away from the booty models for a while, and limit that. Keep away from the velvet ropes. Just do it, not forever, just for a little bit. And does that count as hardship? I don't know. Maybe it does. Final thought. All right. So the facts tell us, and I've said this many times, the facts tell us that the risk of death from the coronavirus in the NFL age range, in shape, not overweight, fine-tuned athletes, is similar to that of being stung by a wasp or a murder hornet. That the chances of that happening, vice versa, it's about the same. And being struck by lightning or getting in an automobile accident. But that's a different conversation. That's not really what this conversation that we're having right now is about. A bunch of positive tests is enough that will cause the NFL to take out the remote control and hit the pause button on the season. So the players are going to have to adapt. It's not the same. Just like the NBA players in Orlando and the baseball players are going to have to deal with their own thing. And a lot of this is based on liability, but the NFL has to be stringent and lay on the red tape. Why? You can blame the lawyers if you want, but the NFL players, they ought to follow the old Phil Jackson model. Like Phil was like a borderline Zen Buddhism guy and live in the present. Isn't that one of the beliefs of Zen Buddhism? Live in the present and treat your work like a sanctuary and live like a simpleton. Live a basic life, but short term for the job, right? For the job. And if that's not your priority, if that's not something that you really want to follow the guidelines of the NFL, then what happens is the entire business of football, the entire operation turns into this wobbly, unstable Jenga tower, and all of the blocks come tumbling down at the same time. Because if you've ever used a Jenga tower, it doesn't take much, right? You pull one out, but the wrong one, and it all comes tumbling down. Now, my belief, and I'm one of the few that believes this, is that these sports leagues can do the impossible. They can pull a Harry Houdini and complete their seasons. But I am in the minority. I'm an outlier. There's many more people you can find on radio, on television, and the internet that are doom and gloom. It's all over. It's never going to work. Shut it down. Shut it down. We're all doomed. That's what the woke media is telling you. But the position I'm in, the NFL, they've got to get the full buy-in from the players. And we can debate whether that's actually going to happen. It might not happen. And if that doesn't happen and the players are still doing things that you shouldn't be doing at this time based on the chances of testing positive, not that you're going to die from it, but testing positive, and then shutting the entire NFL down, well, if you think that's going to be the case, then we're done. It's not going to happen, but at least you try, right? Personal responsibility. The NFL is, again, going to spend an S-load, a C-note of money, and then some. They're hiring private firms, outside firms to test and retest and then test again right up the wazoo. I guess it's actually down the schnozola there, your nose, for the coronavirus. And they will sanitize and clean everything. They're going to acid wash those NFL facilities every single bleeping day. But it's all for naught if the players, when they're not in the facility and everything's done as well as they can do it with sanitation and all that stuff, and at work, and then when they leave, it's like, la, 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 and they end up doing things, frolicking about, and end up putting themselves in situations where they could end up getting a positive test. So, yeah, is that personal sacrifice? A wee bit. But, listen, there's people that are working grocery store jobs and all kinds, driving trucks, and are out and about with other human beings and doing their jobs, and it's part of that job. That's part of the requirement. Everyone's got things about their work that they don't like. This is just more bureaucracy not to like.